Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gander Gardening with Dawn. This is a view out our back door, and the snow is falling, and it's very much like a winter wonderland out there. So I think I'll go out and do a little filming and show you how some of the trees and shrubs and plants are doing in the middle of the winter. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see what this climbing hydrangea looks like now. This is the archway that leads into our back garden. And on the left side, we have a climbing hydrangea that goes all the way up. And at the center there, it's about 8-9 feet above the ground, and it goes all the way across. On the other side of this archway, there is a clematis, and I believe the name is Henri or Henry. And that one I don't cut back because it is a type that if you cut it back in the spring, you will lose all of the blooms for that season. Can you tell how much I am longing for spring and summer? Here are some stems of the goat's beard that I cut back in the early spring. They make a great habitat for pollinators. And next to that, we have an Annabelle hydrangea, which again, I cut back severely in the early spring. And you can see the size of some of the evergreen trees that we saved when we built our house over 20 years ago. And that's one of the reasons that I grow a lot of plants that can take a lot of shade, and also the reason why I grow a lot of plants in containers back here, because there is just so much competition from the roots. There's a giant fir tree right there, and there are 2 white spruce on this side. One is in front of the other right now. You can't really tell. We are incredibly fortunate because behind our property is a green space, and it's like a small part of the forest right up against our back fence. And there are birch trees and alders and aspens and white spruce and black spruce and wild cherry trees, and you name it, back there. Here's our back garden last July. In the right corner of our back garden is a multi-trunk dogberry tree. We call it here, a lot of people call them mountain ash. And this tree was actually here when we moved here over 20 years ago, and we saved it right next to the fence. And it has pretty clusters of creamy white flowers in the spring and clusters of orange red berries in the fall that wildlife just go crazy over. And I love the shape of these trunks in the wintertime. This is a couple of the arching branches of the John Cabot Explorer Rose that I have. It's a climbing rose, and it's growing on our gazebo. I keep tying it up with twine every year. And this one you can tell by how green these branches are that it's going to come through the winter with no problem at all. And these are branches of a Therese Bugnet rose, which is an old-fashioned heritage rose. And if you go really close on it, you will see that there aren't any thorns on this tree. There are very few right at the base, but most of this shrub is thornless, and it has lovely soft pink semi-double roses. Therese Bugnet. Growing just outside of the fence on the left side of our garden is what we call a chuckly pear here in Newfoundland, but most people call it serviceberry. That's a very tall shrub or small tree, and the more entangled branches that you see on this side, on the left side of this tree, is actually a honeysuckle. And that one grows up using the serviceberry and the fence that's behind as support. This is a golden chain tree, Laburnum vasi, that we have had for about 20 years. And it's perfect for our area because we're in zone 5A, and this tree only does well in zones 5, 6, and 7. Here is a rosy lights azalea that I don't do a thing with. I just let the snow come down and around it. And right next to that is a dwarf Alberta spruce that is now about maybe 12 feet tall. Here are some stems of David phlox that are right around my PG hydrangea, and this one's called Unique. And I cut this one back by about a third every spring. And there's our front window.